These are the starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. Duke is the #2 seed. You got to watch out for Ashlyn Jackson. She led them in their last game with 20 points. She's 4 threes away from tying the single-season record. And for North Carolina, Renaya Kelly playing close to home from just down the road in Hoover, Alabama. These two teams know each other so well. But this, the only meeting that matters, the very first time they faced each other in the tournament.
Well, you throw the records out the window. You got to look at what the rivalry means to these two clubs.
North Carolina controls the opening tip, and one of these teams about to battle their way to the Elite Eight.
Duke has gotten here back on the backs of their defense, aggressive, intensity. They were just so stingy in the ACC tournament, and they have not taken their foot off the gas.
And the ACC tournament champions for the first time since 2013. That defense is what Kara Lawson started her era of this Duke program building on, and now they've added the offensive piece to it.
Well, the offense has come along, and I think a big reason is this #3, Ashlyn Jackson. She's been double figures 7 of the last 8 games.
Delaney Thomas with the step around, but left it short. That paint battle is going to be really interesting today.
It is. When you've got Maria Gotting inside, 6'3" in height, but her length, her arms, I mean, she's a force inside on the defensive end.
Alyssa Usby going inside to Maria Gotting. And she is blocked by Jaden Donovan. You know, Kara Lawson's crew on an 8-game winning streak. And she told us, look, momentum is a real thing in March, and they've got a lot of momentum right now.
And a lot of confidence. They're playing well with each other, unselfish, moving the basketball. Everybody is being the best version of themselves.
Renaya Kelly puts up the shot off the mark. She did tell us, though, this squad remembers making it to this round last year and not advancing. That's extra motivation as Ashlyn Jackson takes the 3 but misses.
You got to harness that motivation, though. You don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. Continue to do what got you here.
India Navarre driving into the paint for North Carolina. Maria Gotting underneath for the putback.
As long as Gotting can stay out of foul trouble, I think that North Carolina has the advantage on the offensive end going inside.
Diana Mayer running things for the Duke Blue Devils right now. Ashlyn Jackson gets a good look. She's had 2 nice looks, but not able to let them fall. She is one of the top 3-point shooters for the Blue Devils.
And it's one and done. Duke's not getting those second chance opportunities. They're gonna have to get on the glass.
Dinarski rejecting the screen.
And you see how North Carolina intentional about getting the ball inside to Gotting.
And it's going to be a traveling violation on Maria Gotting. Courtney Banghart in her 6th season leading North Carolina, and she felt like both teams have gotten better since the 2 meetings in the regular season, especially her crew, because the last time they met Duke, they were down 2 starters.
Yeah, Renaya Kelly wasn't available, neither was Alyssa Usby, and these are 2 impact players. Because look, Renaya Kelly is the point guard for these North Carolina Tar Heels.
Just a sophomore, but an important piece. Mayer, no. Rebound, Gotting with the box out.
That was a terrific box out there. At 6'3", sometimes players take their height for granted. Not Gotting. She knows she's got a battle against Duke.
She's in her 2nd season at North Carolina. Cutting to the basket, Lexi Dinarski, the transfer from Iowa State.
You asked me, where do you miss Usby? It's plays like that. She got it at the high post, recognized the defensive pressure, and the back cut by Lexi Dinarski. It's interesting, Courtney Banghart talked about North Carolina's defense. Everybody in that 2nd round, when they were playing West Virginia, talked about West Virginia's defense. Banghart took that a little personal. She said, my team can play some defense too.
Yeah, we talked to her players about it. They were like, yeah, the coach was fired up about that. Jaden Donovan underneath. We got to see that assist from Alyssa Usby feeding Dinarski moments ago.
In the free throw line area, she sees the defensive pressure, denial, and Credit to Lexi Donarski recognizing the defense and cutting hard to the basket and staying with it.
Look at this elite group. Alyssa Usby, the last 25 seasons, she is one of 3 players with over 1,200 rebounds and 400 assists. When your name is with a Maya Moore and Alyssa Thomas, it's a heck of a list.
Wow, that's not only players that went on to play in the WNBA. WNBA also all WNBA players that have had a major impact in the league.
Usby left the second one short, 1 for 2 at the free throw line. Lucia Kanawa is checked in for Duke now. That's a spark plug off the bench.
Both of these teams play a spread out offense. Look how open the lane is.
And Duke throws it away. Interesting, we didn't see Toby Fournier check in those substitutions. Usually she's one of the first to come in the game. Now, we didn't see her in the last game because she was not feeling well, but she practiced yesterday and went through shoot around today.
I think it's only a matter of time because in the second meeting between these two teams, when Toby Fournier came into the game, she said, "Let me introduce myself," and she finished that one with 19 and 10.
Smooth.
Oh, I love the versatility of her game, and she can pick her spots. If you don't guard on the outside, she has expanded her range, knocking down the 3, but then inside, she can get that little mid-range jumper to go.
All right, Duke's 0 for 5. What's going on with their offense right now?
Well, I think they need to slow down, and a lot of it has to do with the pressure of North Carolina.
Ashlyn Jackson can't get any space to operate. Makanawa trying to get through traffic in the paint. Tar Heels won't have it. It's going to be North Carolina basketball.
The pressure from the 4 perimeter players and then the blocking of shots or the shot adjustments you have to make against Maria Gokdang has been to North Carolina's advantage defensively.
I think they just called a foul on Lexi Donarski, so Duke basketball. Intercepted by Gokdang. Jordan Wood fought for it and got it back.
Wood can shoot it.
Too much on that. Renaya Kelly transition 3, no. And this stays with North Carolina, and Toby Fournier checking into the game. Duke's leading scorer in her true freshman season. She was the 10th overall coming out of high school. A native of Toronto, Ontario.
I love watching Fournier's footwork. And even though she's going to be going against a taller, more experienced Gokdang inside, she'll be able to create and put some points on the board for Duke.
All right, Lexi Donarski.
Offense is real easy for North Carolina right now.
Duke 0 for 8 from the field to start. Can Fournier change that?
Taking a while for Duke to get their offense going.
There's Reagan Richardson.
And it's one and done again for Duke.
So much traffic in the paint. So many North Carolina jerseys. Ooh, Alyssa Usby tiptoeing through the lane.
So pretty.
She's got 5. Her dad standing up liked it. That's Todd. 11-0 to start this game for the Tar Heels. Backdoor to Akanawa. And free throws coming. Toby Fournier can do some pretty incredible things. More on this impact player for Duke when we come back.
Welcome back to Birmingham, North Carolina with the early 11-0 lead. Let's take a look at today's player spotlight brought to you by Hilton Garden Inn. Toby Fournier learned how to dunk when she was just 13 years old. Not bad for a teenager. who picked up the sport just a year prior. At 12 years old, she first started to play basketball. When she went out for her first team tryout for Team Ontario, Courtney, she was so nervous that she didn't even shoot. She sat there watching everybody, rebounding for everyone else. She said, obviously I didn't make the team, but it taught her about confidence, that what you think about yourself is what you're going to be. She went out, tryout, made the team the next day, but she said, that's almost my favorite memory as a basketball player because I learned so much about what it takes to have confidence.
And Chris, we asked her, why did it take you till 12 to start basketball? And she said, well, I tried everything else and I just really didn't like it. Like everything from soccer to ballet, and then finally she got a basketball in her hand and that's when it clicked.
Talk about clicking, it clicked quick.
Yeah.
Because you pick it up at 12, you're dunking at 13.
That's what you did.
And now you're a major player. Well, you know, major player at Duke University. You're leading your team in scoring in your freshman year.
North Carolina has been dominant to start this game. Duke still does not have a field goal. Look at the points in the paint. 10 of North Carolina's 11 points have come in the paint.
North Carolina went for high percentage shots to start this game out because you know there's going to be nerves in the Sweet 16. Duke, on the other hand, they were 0 for 4 in the paint until that jumper there by Wood.
Jordan Wood, a sophomore out of Chicago, forced her way onto the floor in the fall, put in the work in the offseason. That's an important bucket. She gets their first field goal of the Sweet 16. Kelly setting it up. They go inside to Alyssa Usby. And Usby will have free throws coming.
There's so much composure for North Carolina on the offensive end, and I think it's because you have Renee Kelly running the point, and then you've got the option. Usby will be that second or third pass to make things happen offensively.
Alyssa Usby, 4-time All-ACC selection in her career, made the All-Defensive Team too.
You know, when North Carolina got eliminated last year, Alyssa Usby had a conversation with Courtney Banghart and talked about coming back for her 5th season. 2 things that Usby wanted to do. 1 was to expand her game, and 2, have a deeper, longer run in March.
Courtney Banghart told her, if you come back, we'll host the 1st and 2nd round. This is a pretty big promise, and guess what? They did.
Promise delivered.
Hosted for the first time since 2015.
You're going to see, because Duke has struggled from scoring from the outside, North Carolina, they're going to shrink their defense a little bit, make it even tougher to get the ball inside.
They hit Toby Fournier going to the basket, and she'll have 2 free throws. First on Alyssa Usby.
Usby just attracts so much. There's 3 players that are headed to cover number 35 in white.
Why does it work for Duke this year to have her coming off the bench as their leading scorer?
You know, Gino Auriemma made a statement once. He said, so many people make a big deal about starters and reserves. Look, as long as you produce, the game is 4 10-minute quarters. There's a lot of time to make your impact. And as a coach, you got to it's like, again, I'm going to go back to that little hidden $10 bill in your purse.
Oh, boy.
And you know that come crunch time, when you need it, you know that you got that in reserve.
Yeah.
And it's going to deliver. And that's what Duke has with Toby Fournier.
Fournier misses both free throws. Duke is 2nd in the nation behind South Carolina in bench points per game. A South Carolina team that also their leading scorer is a freshman coming off the bench. We'll see them in the 2nd game today. Usby at the elbow in trouble. Pressure from Duke. Kelly, 4 seconds. Fournier brings it up the floor.
The versatility of this freshman in Toby Fournier, of what she can do. She can shoot the 3. We talked about her dunk. She's got terrific footwork inside as well.
Reagan Richardson back to Fournier.
And you're looking at Duke's offense over the last 3 years.
Oluchi Akanawa, they needed that, the extra effort. effort. You could see it oozing from that play.
Yeah, Duke scored 62 points 3 years ago, 63 last year. That's up into the 70s now, and it's because of players like Toby Fournier, the punch they get from Alucia Kanawa.
And most points per game for Duke since the 2013-14 season.
There's a big difference for North Carolina without Gotang.
And a shot clock violation by Duke, and Maria Gotang is going to check back in for North Carolina. Duke forced it, excuse me. That is the 44th shot clock violation that this Duke defense has forced this season.
You can just tell when talking to the Duke players, they take pride in and have bought into, ever since Kara Lawson got there, you are going to play defense.
Vanessa De Jesus now running the offense for the Blue Devils.
Gotang back in. We'll get the ball inside, test the waters with Fournier.
Thomas, a little pick and roll action, a 7-0 run, just like that for Duke. They started this game 1 for 10 from the field. And Usby is fouled by Alucia Kanawa.
You know, Reagan Richardson was the main scorer last season. This season, she's added to her assists. Little pocket pass to Delaney Thomas. Perfect on the backside to get an easy 2.
This game started out 11-0 North Carolina, but now the Tar Heels haven't scored in almost 4 minutes. Duke has scored 7 straight.
When was North Carolina scoring? They were scoring when Maria Gotang's on the floor, because Duke's defense has to worry so much about her that it opens up everybody else.
Two free throws in, and you see Todd Usby holding up the 2. He does that whenever Usby hits both of her free throws. Vanessa De Jesus cutting through that North Carolina defense. And shot not off in time. North Carolina leads it after 10 minutes. Chris will talk to Courtney Banghart when we come back. Moments ago, Chris Budden caught up with North Carolina head coach Courtney Banghart. This coach interview brought to you by Symetra.
Coach, you start the game on an 11-0 run. What were you most pleased with the way that started?
Oh, I mean, it's a 40-minute game. I thought we were really good defensively, took away layups, didn't let the transition game hurt us. But we're in for a battle, we know that.
When they bring Fournier in off the bench, how does that change what you guys are able to do offensively?
You know, she's going to be a really good player. You know, she's really physical, she's fast, you know, she puts pressure on the rim. You know, we got to keep taking away left shoulder and force her to make plays.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks.
North Carolina's defense started out really strong. Duke was 1 for 10 to start the game.
But look how connected North Carolina is on these screens, protecting the drive, contest the shot, and look at the box out. You gotta love the box out to finish your defense. And having Maria Gotang on the floor, she has contested shots inside so that Duke is not getting anything easy in the paint.
And North Carolina +9 when Gotang is on the floor. Tar Heels are 25-0 when they hold opponents to 65 points or fewer. 4-7 when opponents go above that mark, so that is a key number to look for. De Jesus got a bucket right before the buzzer for this Duke team.
But when you get to the Sweet 16, you want to hang your hat on the defense. It always travels. There are going to be nights that the shot doesn't fall, but the teams that can continue to deliver defensively, those are the ones that can advance.
Usby tried to take it up with some physicality, couldn't finish it. Ashlyn Jackson, no, Gotang rebound.
Transition defense, you've heard Courtney Banghart tell KB, transition defense, not just the defense in the half court, but getting back has been key in slowing down Duke.
North Carolina basketball. Lainey Grant and Renaya Kelly check into the game for the Tar Heels.
I like this freshman, Lainey Grant. And not only is she a freshman, Lyle, she's only 17 years old. She won't be 18 till April.
She inbounds it to Usby, and Courtney Banghart told us that after last year's tournament, she went to watch Lainey Grant play in the state championship tournament. She went 13 of 14 from the free throw line, and she jokingly texted Lainey's mom and said, "We need you right now." And she said, "Okay, we're gonna come early."
48 hours later, got the phone call and said she's coming. And this is a player that has the maturity. She said, you know, really in high school things, she wasn't challenged. She wanted that next challenge, so she made the decision to go ahead and come to college. And when she steps on the floor, great composure, and it really gives versatility at the point guard spot. You got Renaya Kelly, you've got Grace Townsend, and you have Lainey Grant, all three different point guards that play three different ways.
Yeah, yesterday, Renaya Kelly told us she's so proud of Lainey because Renaya was also 17 when she came in, so she knows what it's like to come in so young, but Lainey Grant coming in an entire year early has benefited.
But I think Renaya Kelly might be 35.
Yeah.
She is an old soul, man. So mature, so laid back, calm and collected. You just see how she manages the floor from that point guard spot. Oh, Maria, she twisted that ankle a little bit, cutting across the lane.
Down right now for North Carolina, but she's going to be helped up by her teammates.
She may have to come out.
Yeah, favoring that right leg, already has a brace on it, and her teammates are going to help her off the floor.
She stepped on Lexi Donarski's foot.
We've already told you about how important she is. You see your mom Matilda watching in the stands.
Well, with Maria Gokdang on the floor, North Carolina was +9. That's the impact, both getting stops and providing a scoring option on the offensive end.
Let's see if Chris can get us some updates on Maria Gokdang while the training staff is looking at her. Sierra Toomey is in right now for North Carolina underneath the basket. 9 seconds, Donarski saw an opening. Toomey almost had the rebound. Donovan tried to, Delaney Thomas tried to take it away, but instead she'll be whistled for the foul. And Maria Gokdang in the tunnel right now. Toomey short on the spin.
It's not like North Carolina is not used to playing without Maria Gokdang on the floor against Duke. Got in foul trouble. She got in foul trouble in both meetings.
And she has missed 4 games with an injury too this season. Foul against Renaya Kelly. That'll be her first. Well, the second game today here in Birmingham, the reigning national champions Dawn Staley in the house. Feels like her team is playing their best basketball right now, and they were tested in the last round against Indiana, trailed at the half, but came back to win it.
Yeah, Indiana gave them all they could handle with their defense in the first half, but then it was Chloe Kitts, after she got out of foul trouble, survived that in the second half. She was huge.
Reagan Richardson misses. Winner of this game will face the winner of South Carolina, Maryland. That'll be our next game here in Birmingham today. Oh, Jaden Donovan all ball.
Donovan has been as big a force in the paint for Duke as Gokdang has been for North Carolina. And Jaden Donovan's done it, and she's only 6 feet tall, but the elevation, the timing on the block, Donovan, a force, and Carol Lawson talks about she's key to that Duke defense.
The Duke's defense stopping North Carolina right now. Their last field goal came at the 4:19 mark in the first quarter. They've gone over 7 minutes without a field goal.
North Carolina bringing a little quarter court 1-2-2 pressure, now sitting in a zone. Duke 0 for 6 from 3.
DeJesus. 4 points for her.
Well, the mid-range jumper not settling for a 3, but getting inside that second level of the defense is going to be important.
Lainey Grant trying to pivot her way around the defense, in and out for the freshman.
Now this one right here, number 5, Alucia Tonwa can get going, speed up things for the Blue Devils.
Got it over to Thomas, and that pace. Duke has tied this game. They trailed 11-0. Meanwhile, North Carolina 0 for its last 9.
Well, Duke taking advantage of not having Gokdang out after she went down with a foot injury.
And back in the locker room right now for North Carolina. 4 seconds.
The pressure, the heat has turned up for the Blue Devils.
This is the Duke defense you're used to seeing, and it's turning into points. Alucia Kanawa gives Duke the lead.
It's the defensive intensity. Alucia Kanawa, number 5, the blocking shots by Jaden Donovan, the pressure that she brings. All 5 players really can switch for Duke right now if need be.
And Renee Kelly turned it over. Richardson up to Akanawa. And a traveling violation. Duke turned it up defensively, fueling some offensive spark here.
Carol Lawson talks about the contribution of the reserves. Alucia Kanawa does that. She brings up that speed. She brings the speed to the floor, kind of like Mylasia Fulwiley does for South Carolina. That's what Akanawa does. She brings it on the defensive end. She's got quick hands, and then getting in transition, she's like the road runner.
Beep, beep.
Thank you. We had to pause, had to wait on it.
They get a foul, an offensive foul going against India Navarre. 4 turnovers for North Carolina in their last 5 possessions.
I don't know about that. Well, the defense did not get 2 feet down in defensive guarding position. So moving, didn't ever declare her area. So, yeah.
The offensive foul gives it over to Duke. DeJesus, so patient in how she picks apart North Carolina.
Vanessa DeJesus is so smart, and with her impact, and she's both smart on and off the court. Talked to Kyra Elson. She said the first week she got there, DeJesus said, "Do you know the plays?" And DeJesus helped her learn them.
Traveling violation gives it back to Duke, and the Blue Devils have settled in here in the Sweet 16. They started down 11-0, but they've got the lead here in the second quarter. Yeah, Kelsey, we've been watching for Maria Gokdang, who went out of this game at the 8-11 mark here in the second quarter. Came back over to the bench area for North Carolina, but not in the game yet.
Yeah, Duke was able to make their run with Gokdang when she had to go out of the game.
Right now, Duke on a 17-2 run. 8 seconds here. Ashlyn Jackson looking for her first points, and she found him on a layup. Maria Gokdang on the bike over on the North Carolina sideline.
It looked like North Carolina adjusted their defense. Maybe it was a triangle and 2. I got to see that one again.
During this run for Duke, North Carolina has gone 0 for 9, and they've turned it over 6 times. Duke wanted to travel there on Grant. Heels still can't find a bucket.
And North Carolina in a man-to-man.
Step back for Ashlyn Jackson. Kanawa up there battling. Kristen, any update on Maria Gakdang?
Which came out here just before that huddle, but was standing behind everyone, still having trouble putting any weight on that right ankle. Currently on the bike, has taken some pain medication, but I did not see her give any indication to the coaching staff that she was ready to go in during that huddle, reminding them, hey guys, we know that Duke is a great defensive team, but you can't allow what they do to put us on our heels. Got to continue to stay aggressive, and that's on both ends of the court, wanting them to continue going after rebounds and chasing the ball.
KB is so important. North Carolina, 9 turnovers.
Duke was 0 for 5 when Maria Gakdang was on the floor contesting their shots, and now they're just eating up North Carolina. Donarski in and out. Acrobatic putback from India Navarre ends the field goal drought that was over 10 minutes.
And just like Duke turned up their defense in that second quarter, or earlier in this quarter, North Carolina is going to have to do the same, especially without their rim protector available.
A traveling violation on Duke. It'll be North Carolina basketball.
Now, what's going to be a handful for North Carolina is Duke's Toby Fournier. With Gakdang on the floor, can kind of balance things out. I think at times you're going to see Alyssa Usby have to contend with number 35 in white.
So that's the matchup right now, as Usby's trying to get around her in the paint. Fournier comes over to help. They kick out to Donarski. She's now 1-3 away from the top 5 single season list in that category at North Carolina.
You've got Usby guarding Fournier inside.
Seven seconds. Jackson off the screen. Akanawa. And just like that, we have our first 2 threes of the ball game back to back.
That's the 26-3 by Lucia Akanawa.
Renee Kelly fouled going to the basket.
But North Carolina's got to create more opportunities for Lexi Donarski. Look at it, Donarski is just lined up perfectly, ready for that 3 to drop it down, and then as the shot clock is running down, Akanawa, she wants to get in the 3-point party.
And Lucia Akanawa, the ACC tournament MVP, not an all-conference selection on the season, but she got that MVP title when Duke won its first conference tournament since 2013.
She has turned things up this latter part of the season, and especially in March.
Second foul against Alyssa Usby as Toby Fournier goes up, and she'll get 2 free throws coming.
Stepping to the line for Duke, number 35, Toby Fournier, shooting 2.
Toby Fournier 0 for 2 from the free throw line tonight. Bounces out. NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One, brought to you by Indeed. The world can work better.
One area for Duke has been their free throw percentage. They just shoot 69%. Fournier shoots 67.
And North Carolina not much better, 67% from the charity stripe this season. India Navarre.
And rebounds are not coming as easy with this smaller lineup for North Carolina.
Lucia Akanawa! Give her another!
Probably fueled her when she was not voted All-ACC.
Oh, you better believe it. Now she's 2 for 2 from the 3-point line in this game.
She spotted up again. Find number 5. You got to go to the hot hand.
Last year, she was the ACC's 6th Woman of the Year, the first at Duke to win that award, and this year just balled out in the ACC tournament. She tied her career high with 22 points in that comeback against NC State in the championship game.
Well, since their loss to South Carolina, Akanawa has averaged almost 12 points a game, almost 6 rebounds a game.
This will be North Carolina basketball.
Fouls on the Blue Devils, number 24, Reagan Richardson.
Second foul against Reagan Richardson. What a swing this game has taken. North Carolina started the game up 11-0.
And North Carolina, they need a bucket right now. They need some momentum going into the locker room at half.
Maria Gakdang went out at the 8-11 mark here in this quarter, and North Carolina has struggled to get back in a rhythm. Duke's defense, meanwhile, has turned up, and the Blue Devils on a 7-0 run.
Well, the defense of Fournier on Usby, you've got Lexi Donarski on the other side, and she's covered up by Ashlyn Jackson.
It's at the top of your screen. India Navarre working against Cable. Forced her way to a bucket. And Ashlyn Jackson heaves it up at the buzzer. A turnaround here. Duke only scored 9 points in the first quarter. Trailed by 11, and since then they've outscored North Carolina 28-9. Vanessa DeJesus is with Chris.
Vanessa, this one got away early. You guys were down 11-0. What changed?
Yeah, I think for us, just picking up that energy and playing as Duke. We knew if we came out here and just had that relentless energy on the offense and defense end, we'd get back in the game.
What will be most important in the second half?
Just keeping our composure. We know the game's going to be a lot of ups and downs. They're a great team. So just coming out strong in the second half.
I appreciate it. Good luck.
Thanks.
The rubber match between these two with everything on the line. Winner to the Elite Eight. Halftime here in Birmingham, 28-20, Duke in front. Let's get you to the studio with Kelsey and crew.
You know, North Carolina started 10-0, points in the paint. Well, now, points in the paint, the score is 14-16, and Duke has the advantage.
Third meeting of the season between these two. They split the regular season meetings, but this one for all the marbles, a spot in the Elite Eight is on the line. The very first time that these rivals have ever played each other in the NCAA tournament.
And Gakdang lost her footing there and went down. We'll see how she can operate after spending time in the locker room. You look now, Delaney Thomas is in the bottom of your screen trying to pull Gakdang out of the paint, but she's not leaving.
Ashlyn Jackson, just 2 points for her in the first half, and Delaney Thomas cutting to the basket on the pass from Ashlyn Jackson. Usby can't get past the pressure of Jaden Donovan. Jackson and Thomas, the kick out. DeJesus swings it over to Reagan Richardson.
Good box out by Usby underneath. Let's see how soon North Carolina will look to try to test Maria Gakdang inside.
Ball got tipped up into the air by DeJesus. Bouncing around and dropping down for India Navarre, the first bucket for North Carolina here in the second half.
North Carolina is in a zone. A 1-2-2, and responsibilities big time on the back line with Usby and Gakdang.
Richardson hits Thomas in the middle of the floor. 6 seconds for Duke. Jaden Donovan flashing. DeJesus, no. Rebound for Maria Gakdang.
Gakdang has worked so hard in the offseason on her strength. She's just been slowed by that ankle today.
Slow to get down the floor. Calling for the basketball, posting up against Jaden Donovan. Donovan's defense has been on point. She's had a hand on several basketballs today. DeJesus falling on the floor with India Navarre trying to fight after that basketball.
The Gakdeng still not moving quite like herself.
That'll be Duke basketball. Foul against Renaya Kelly.
Duke was prepared for this zone of North Carolina, and you see Delaney Thomas on that backside, just wide open to slip after the overload. And then Jaden Donovan, she is only 6 feet tall, but she has given the business to Gakdeng down low. Again, Duke overloading that zone. You see Alyssa Usby, she's really air traffic control in the middle right now.
When you say they're overloading the zone, what does that look like?
Bringing 4 offensive players over to one side, making the zone have to go with a cutter.
Renaya Kelly steps into the 3. She started 0 for 7 from the field.
She should be very comfortable on this court. Playing for Hoover High School, was able to win 4 state championships, played in 5.
Lucia Kanawa, no, knew it, tried to follow her shot, but Kelly got there first.
Another block by Donovan.
And there's going to be a foul on the floor. It'll be against Delaney Thomas. Now for today's Need to Know, it's brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. And in the locker room right now, getting ready, South Carolina, the reigning national champions, they're getting set to take on Maryland. The Terrapins, a 17-point comeback in the second round against Alabama. That was just Monday night. They're going to face a South Carolina team who has won 9 straight games.
They have been on a tear ever since South Carolina lost to Connecticut. They have beaten teams by an average of 25 points.
That game will be 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one here in Birmingham. Our first Sweet 16 game of the tournament. Winner of this game will face the winner of Maryland, South Carolina. Fournier flashing into the paint, calling for it. It bounces out to Richardson. 8 seconds for Duke. Richardson. Ball movement for the Blue Devils.
Richardson is a scorer. Senior composure by Reagan Richardson.
Seconds, 5 seconds. Navarre. Usby swatted away by Fournier.
Ball security is going to be key with these two teams, the defense that they are playing.
And Kara Lawson was yelling at Mayer to come get the basketball. Couldn't before Duke turned it over, and India Navarre turned that into points.
India Navarre has brought it. She saw her look over to Courtney Banghart, pulling at her jersey and saying she's going to need a blow.
Duke has led by as many as 10. North Carolina has led by as many as 11. Richardson back to Fournier. And she's fouled by Maria Gakdeng.
Duke, right now, with a 6-point lead. The senior, Reagan Richardson, cool, calm, and collected as the shot clock's running down. Duke right now, hanging on.
Well, back in 2022, these two rivals on the men's side, Duke and North Carolina, met in the national semifinal, and Caleb Love hit the big shot to end Coach K's career. Franklin Street was crazy after that, and Alyssa Usby of North Carolina told us she was watching this all take place. And you see the history that these two women's programs have, Duke, North Carolina, it's surprising to feel like this is the first time they've ever met in the tournament.
Yeah, these are programs that have been to 3 Final Fours for North Carolina, 4 for Duke, and both teams have their sights on advancing to the Elite Eight and hoping to get back to another Final Four.
Let's check out today's game track brought to you by Invesco QQQ. You see the last 3 seasons. 4 wins for North Carolina in this rivalry, 3 for Duke, 1 overtime win apiece. Pretty even.
Yeah, Courtney Banghart talked about when she got to North Carolina and when Kara got to Duke, both coaches understood, look, they had to get these programs back to the prominence, and especially because of the rivalry. The fans, they want this, they want these teams to be good, and both coaches have done a good job at that.
As they're playing each other, it just feels different, and it might feel a little bit different here too because it's not at one of their home arenas like they're used to.
Well, there's plenty of blue in here today. I even wore my blue.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong when these two teams are playing each other.
You're right in the middle shades of the Duke blue and the North Carolina blue.
It's a good defensive stand by Duke there, taking away the drive from North Carolina.
North Carolina jumped out to an 11-0 lead to start this ball game. Maria Gokding went down with an injury and missed the last 8 minutes and 11 seconds of the second quarter. That's when Duke was able to make its run. She is back on the floor. Richardson just willing up through the contact. It's going to be a foul against Lexi Donarski, her second.
Yeah, Donarski's got to recognize Alyssa Usby's playing off of Delaney Thomas. She's got help on that penetration.
Reagan Richardson at the free throw line for the first time today. Started her career at Georgia before transferring to Duke, and Maria Gokding will get a moment of rest. Misses the first. The Women's Basketball Sweet 16 continues today on ESPN and the app at 5 Eastern. Maryland taking on the reigning national champion South Carolina. That'll be followed by LSU squaring off against NC State, and Ole Miss versus UCLA. Those last 2 games taking place in Spokane. Remember, in the women's tournament, 2 sites for regionals, so we have 8 teams here in Birmingham, 8 teams in Spokane.
A lot of star power in those games tonight. You're gonna see Flajay Johnson and Isaiah James going at each other, LSU versus NC State. And then you've got Christine Uwala, who used to play at UCLA, and now she is at Ole Miss. She's gonna be taking on her old team.
Ooh, a little drama, okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Jane Donovan, her 3rd foul, puts India Navarre at the free throw line. Both of these teams struggling at the free throw line today.
Yeah, North Carolina's 3 of 7. Duke is 3 of 10.
Usby saves it into the hands of Donarski. Renaya Kelly, catch and shoot. This end of the floor, Duke won for its last 7. They haven't had a field goal in 2.5 minutes.
Keep an eye on Alyssa Usby. She's guarding Toby Fournier right now.
Fournier cutting in the paint. And traveled.
You asked me at the start of the show, what did North Carolina miss not having Alyssa Usby? It's the hustle plays like that to save the possession for the Tar Heels.
Courtney Banghart has talked about her legacy. Alyssa Usby's legacy is going to be toughness. She said that is a basketball skill.
Definitely so. You can teach somebody how to shoot the basketball, but to teach somebody how to play with relentlessness, that's just in your blood.
Lucia Kanoa hitting the gas. Reagan Richardson at the ready, but no.
Usby's just all over the place. That Swiss Army knife for North Carolina.
Ooh. Grant trying to break down Mayer. That's a 17-year-old freshman flexing at the Sweet 16.
She is ready for the moment.
North Carolina has cut it to 2. Duke's led by as many as 10.
The matchup is Usby versus Fournier.
Fournier with the basketball. Usby giving her room. Nakanoa dumps it off on the pick and roll. This will stay with Duke.
At 17 years of age, Lainey Grant with the razzle-dazzle and the finish through contact. It doesn't matter that it's the Sweet 16. That young lady is ready to play.
1.4 on the shot clock. There is time to catch and shoot. Richardson left it short. It did not touch the rim, so a shot clock violation. Now Duke won for its last 10.
And Kara Lawson wanting to focus on the defensive side. Last couple of possessions on the defensive end, bringing full court.
Tar Heels on a 7-1 run over the last 3 minutes. Kelly pulls up and misses. Ashlyn Jackson with a little mic drop.
Jackson has been on a tear. She did that in the ACC tournament when Duke needed buckets. Ashlyn Jackson was the one that Kara Lawson could call on.
Reagan Richardson. But they got that look starting with the drive from Ashlyn Jackson. Now she's got a steal. And Duke can take the last shot of the quarter. Jackson realizes it, pulls up in time.
Yeah, that's a good decision. You want the last shot going into the fourth quarter.
They put the ball in the hands of Taina Mayer. Reagan Richardson, short corner.
That is the end of the third quarter. Your score, the Duke Blue Devils.
Second time in this game, Duke has scored single digits in a quarter. Chris will talk to Kara Lawson when we come back to Birmingham. 10 minutes to decide who is moving on to Sunday's Elite Eight. Moments ago, Chris Budden spoke with Duke head coach Kara Lawson. This coach's interview is brought to you by Symetra.
Coach had a double-digit lead. Heels started cutting into that. What will it take in the fourth quarter?
This is the type of game you would expect. I know it's not been pretty. I know everybody at home is probably like, there's not a lot of scoring. But what you're seeing is two teams competing. They both really want the spot in the Elite Eight. It's just going to take competitiveness. It's going to take a lot of juice. And you just got to keep fighting. And so I think both teams will do that in the fourth quarter.
I appreciate it. Good luck.
Lots of emotion in this game. Blue Bloods meeting for the first time in the NCAA tournament. They split the regular season meetings, and now all that matters is the final 10 minutes of this ball game.
You heard Kara Lawson talk about competitiveness and juice. That's what Duke brought in that second quarter, and a lot of that came from their reserves, specifically Aluchia Kanawa. Number 5, she had 10 points in that run in the second quarter. Will she be able to have that kind of punch impact in this fourth?
Duke only got 1 point from its bench in the third quarter. They were held to just 9 points. So 2 quarters today, the first and the third quarter, single digits for the Duke Blue Devils. It's the 4th time this season they've been held to single digits in multiple quarters. They have not won a game when that happens.
North Carolina choosing to go without Gakdang on the floor.
What advantage is that for Duke?
Well, everything's evened out now. Yeah, the size advantage that North Carolina had at with her 6'3" frame. North Carolina, it's going to be man for man. All 5 players on the floor right now can pretty much play any of the 5 positions.
She went down with an injury at the 8:11 mark of the second quarter, did not return until the third quarter. Renaya Kelly one-on-one with Ashlyn Jackson, and Ashlyn Jackson wins that defensive battle. Up ahead to Akanawa. Got her own rebound. Got her own bucket.
That's the effect that Akanawa can have on a ball game. She just brings that energy. She is the epitome of that juice that Carol Lawson talks about.
Over her last 5 games, she's averaging 14 points per game. She's at 12 right now, and she's got a double-double, her 3rd of the season. Donarski needed a bit more on the shot, and North Carolina throws it away. Duke basketball.
You see, Usby's having to play the 5 now for North Carolina. She tried to create another opportunity, but slung that one out of bounds. Now she's going to be called upon defensively to be the protector of the paint.
Vanessa De Jesus. Belucci Akanawa. De Jesus almost got it back. Up ahead to Lainey Grant. Offensive foul against India Navarre. Her 2nd.
Navarre's trying to play aggressive, but she's got to play under control.
And Delaney Thomas set up shop, knew that she was coming in.
The sacrifice, she was all in.
Thomas with 6 points and 3 rebounds, 2 today.
Focus for this North Carolina defense is number 5 in white for Duke.
Ashlyn Jackson heaves up a shot. She knows she's got 2 freebies at the charity stripe on the way. It's the 3rd on Lexi Donarski. First free throw of the day for Jackson goes in for the 5th straight year. Every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships.
For Duke, Ashlyn Jackson needs to touch the ball a lot because she is their best free throw shooter on the floor.
She's got 7 points today. Donarski feeding Usby. Tying up the basketball is Jaden Donovan. Her defense has been so spot on.
Yeah, we get caught up in her blocking shots, but it's all the other things that she does in the right place, right time, getting deflections, tying the ball up. You gotta love having a player like that take such pride in her defense.
She's a sophomore now, but was the number 3 recruit coming out. And North Carolina has to call timeout. They couldn't get the ball in. First timeout they have called today. Maria Gakdeng has been in and out of this game after an injury in the second quarter. They're plus 10 with her on the floor, minus 19 when she's on the North Carolina bench. Well, 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game, we might see some highlights from that one. Malaysia Fulwiley and South Carolina getting ready to take on Cheyenne Sellers and Maryland. That is coming up next here in Birmingham. Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance.
Jaden Donovan got the 4 blocks. She got 2 on Maria Gakdeng, who is 6'3". She also got Alyssa Usby, and then the tie up there. She just seems to be defensively in the right place at the right time.
4 blocks, tying her career high. How about giving out the Capital One rewarding performance for a little defense? That's fun.
I love the reward of playing on the tough end of the floor.
Lucia Akanawa in trouble, heaves it up to Ashlyn Jackson.
reserves for Duke in that second quarter that really took over.
Jackson misses. Donovan got it back.
Now the 50-50 balls are going to the side of Duke. Gang's going to the scores table to check in.
3 seconds. Ashlyn Jackson shot off in time, but won't fall. India Navarre pushing pace. Lainey Grant transition 3-0. Donovan tippy-toed her way on the baseline, trying to stay in bounds.
That's going to just be a matter. North Carolina's got to keep the ball out of the paint, and then they have to rebound if they want to chip away at this lead.
Rebounding battle is even right now, 35 apiece. It's going to be a tough shot. Ashlyn Jackson had to go down to her feet to scoop the basketball up, but the offensive rebounds, I mean, the extra effort is with Duke right now.
No, Jaden Donovan is everywhere. She's playing like she's 6'5".
12 offensive boards. Much better, catch and shoot right in the pocket.
We interviewed the players yesterday. She said Carol Lawson tells them if you're open, shoot it. She wants them to feel the freeness. If they are available, they're not guarded, pull the trigger.
Carol Lawson built her Duke era on their foundation with defense, and now she's added the offensive piece. They're scoring their most points since 2013-14, and it's instilling that confidence in her shooters to shoot the basketball.
When you come into a program and you start to experience success, you're going to get some of these top players that are going to want to come into your program.
Maria Gokdang just checked back in for North Carolina. They're +10 with her on the floor. Lainey Grant is at the free throw line. And Toby Fournier comes in too. So size against size.
And now, in these last 5 minutes, rebounding and free throws will decide this game.
Two free throws good for Lainey Grant.
Now, North Carolina has gone back to their zone. It's going to be up to Gokdang and Usby on that back line, the rotation to cover the corners and the paint.
Fournier's at the free throw line there. They give her the basketball. And just attacks Maria Gokdang, who gets the foul call.
Fournier has no fear. Because of the versatility of her game, we talked to her yesterday. This is a player, didn't start playing until she was 12, but she's steps on the floor like she grew up with a basketball in her hands from the age of 6.
But she wrote down her goals before she got to college. One of those being the Rookie of the Year in the conference, check. The other one, experiencing March Madness, check.
She's experiencing it in a good way.
Yeah, that's right.
Right now in this Sweet 16.
Yeah. Grace Townsend now operating for North Carolina. Must be in the corner, won't go.
Well, North Carolina experiences success when Usby and Lexi Donarski are in double figures. Right now, neither one of those two are.
And North Carolina hasn't hit a field goal in this quarter. Oh, beautiful! Delaney Thomas, the dump off from Ashlyn Jackson.
You see the chemistry of the Blue Devils on the floor right now.
Largest lead for Duke. And an air ball for North Carolina. They're 0 for 6 in the fourth quarter.
Duke patient and dissecting the defense of North Carolina. When you see two make the extra pass, they've been willing to. two, the drop off to Delaney Thomas, and then Ashlyn Jackson from three. Duke right now in control.
Well, the Maryland Terrapins, they're warming up in the wings, getting set to take on South Carolina. I mean, how fun was it to watch Maryland-Alabama on Monday night in the second round? A double overtime game.
You were blowing up my phone.
Yeah, our whole group text was exploding.
Back and forth.
Couldn't help it. We got 4:05 left in this game. Chris, what were they saying in the North Carolina huddle?
It was a lot of player discussion. Us be looking at everyone saying we have to go over every ball, get after it, get every single rebound. When Coach Banghart came into the huddle, obviously a big hill to climb offensively, wanting to get fast buckets, transition layups.
I think the number one thing North Carolina has to focus on is stops. On the defensive side, everybody's responsibility. I would go underneath ball screens. I know that Duke can shoot the basketball, but they are getting whatever when they get you over-rotated in the paint.
That one bounces out for Vanessa De Jesus. Yeah, to your point, Duke just shooting 25% from three-point land tonight. And this will be North Carolina basketball. How do you want to see them scoring?
I think that you've got to get Alyssa Usby in the middle of the floor. I think that she can operate. If she can get isolated with Delaney Thomas, that would be good.
Bianca Thomas with the bucket for North Carolina.
The biggest thing that North Carolina has got to do is not get beat off the drive and get over-rotated. Duke right now in attack mode.
Duke has looked calm this entire game, even when they started out behind 11-0. Remember, they overcame a 12-point deficit earlier, They overcame a 17-point deficit in the ACC championship game and were able to come back and win that.
North Carolina went to operating in the middle of the floor. The ball screen action there, being able to find Thomas down low.
Delaney Thomas was whistled for her third foul. Fournier and De Jesus will check out. Maria Gakdang on the bench for North Carolina after that injury in the second quarter. She's been in and out of the game since then. And Triana Crisp misses the shot.
Defense to offense. Akanwa is a blur as she comes down the floor.
You know, talking to the Duke players yesterday, they told us they feel like this group this year, they're more connected. They're always spending time together. That's translating to the floor, so there's no panic when they're trailing like they did earlier in this ball game. They were able to come back and take the lead.
And that connectivity has been organic. No, it's not been forced, not special activities, but they just like hanging out together.
Grace Townsend back to Usby. Thomas short on the putback.
They needed that one. That was huge.
Duke up 11 as we approach 90 seconds to decide who's going to the Elite Eight.
We congratulated Carol Lawson on getting her team this far, and she said, but we haven't done anything. They wanted to get past this Sweet 16 game.
This is where their season ended last year. Using that as motivation, they did not forget. They got a fresh 20.
The composure of this group has been impressive since that loss to South Carolina.
5 seconds. Duke again! Offensive boards like crazy, and Jaden Donovan a huge reason why. 6 seconds on the shot clock. So North Carolina not fouling.
Again, Duke saving the possession.
Very controlling. North Carolina's not going to extend the game. They're not going to foul.
Yeah, Carol Lawson putting all of her players down on the baseline for the clock just to run out.
Up and in for Alyssa Usby. And Alyssa Usby, her final game for North Carolina. It is Duke, who trailed 11-0 to start the game. They did not flinch. And we will see them in the Elite Eight, their 64th win in the NCAA tournament in program history.
I think this was a tremendous team effort, especially when you look at what the reserves for Duke did. 26 points from their bench, no panic when they got behind. Even the reserves were that spark in the second quarter that were able to allow the Blue Devils to extend their lead.
It'll be the 12th Elite Eight appearance for Duke, the first since 2013. And just the 6th time since 2010 that a team has been held under 40 points in the Sweet 16 is North Carolina, only 38. And the careers of Alyssa Usby, Lexi Donarski, and Maria Gatting come to an end. So Duke is our first team in the Elite Eight. Who will meet them there on Sunday? South Carolina, Maryland, 30 minutes away from that game.
Well, Duke has played South Carolina before this season. But you've got a Maryland team that's coming in very hungry. You talked about that comeback win and that double overtime against Alabama. Can they keep the offense going against the Gamecocks?
Experienced Duke team. They've now won 9 straight games, including winning that ACC tournament title, and that has fueled them right into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, the tournament Blue Devils is what needs to continue as they continue to advance in this tournament. Solid defense, no panic when they get behind, and they just chip away and find a way to put buckets up.
Chris Hazalucci Akanawa from Duke.
Your coach talks all the time about the connectivity of this team. To be down double digits early and win in the manner that you did, what did it take today?
You know, it's funny. It's almost as if when we're down by a deficit, we know that we're going to come back, and that's actually what fuels and propels us. But I mean, this group, we're so connected, and we know one another, and we know each other's play style and what we need in order to get each other going. So I really think that's what we went back into the locker room at halftime, regrouped on, and we brought it back out for the second half.
And a double-double by you. What did you feel like you could give coming off the bench today?
Just my energy, my hustle, my heart, everything. You know, I always say I'm going in to do whatever it is that my team needs me to do, and I love rebounding, so that's an added bonus.
You'll find out in about 2.5 hours who you play in the Elite Eight, but it's the first appearance for Duke since 2013. What's this moment feel like right now?
Everything. I mean, I'm so blessed also to only be a sophomore and be able to be experiencing this, because I'm going to garner so much information and experience that I can carry with me for my next 2 years. But honestly, it's awesome, especially with this group. I love these girls so much, and we deserve to be here.
Enjoy it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Guys.
Kanawa with her 3rd double-double of the season, 12 points, 12 rebounds, just one shy of tying her career high, and Duke is moving on to the Elite Eight. South Carolina, Maryland in about 30 minutes. Until then, let's get you back to the studio with Kelsey.